Welcome to Cyber-Conversations, the show where it's okay to agree to disagree. My name's Josh. I'm joined today by Matthew, Heather, Darren, and Robert. And we were discussing, as of last week, Bob. Sorry. Well, you put the name Robert there, and I'm reading quickly, and Anyway, we were talking about Thor Ragnarok, which was released in 2017. We were talking about Sakaar, the trash planet. We talked a little bit about Loki and Hela and Scourge and a few other things. And we were talking about we were about to discuss the contender, or not the contender, the champion that Thor was going to fight, which would be a big secret if they didn't reveal it in the trailers so that everyone knew it before they saw the movie. But we're talking about the Incredible Hulk, who finally reappeared for the first time since Age of Ultron, which came out. What year did that come out?
2015. It's only been
15. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Still, it felt like a huge weight, after seeing that, because I wanted to know what happened to the Hulk. And I remember having a few discussions with friends at the time, like, when do you think we'll see the Hulk again? There was rumor going on that they were going to do Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, and that's when we were going to see him. And there were some nods to that, I think, by him being a gladiator in this. So I would still like to see that Planet Hulk and World War Hulk. But in the meantime, he came back in a big way here.
I like Thor's reaction when he shows up, and he's like,
everyone likes his reaction.
Yeah.
That was a line from a kid, right? If I'm not mistaken, there was a kid who...
Yeah.
I don't remember the whole story, but I think he was sick, a kid who was sick. And
he asked him what line he'd like him to say in the movie or something like that.
Yeah, and he said he's a friend from work, and Chris Hemsworth really liked that idea, so they incorporated it into the movie. But it works well, so...
Yeah.
One of the humorous bits that landed. I like the gladiator fight a lot. Again, I was saying last week, this movie kind of takes a Tron legacy, Tron-esque feel here. Sam Flynn getting tossed in the arena, fights Rinsler, aka Tron. I get Thor tossed into the arena, fights Hulk, and then it goes into the whole escaping through, I think they call it the Devil's Anus. And that's the whole point of Tron Legacy. So
yeah, exactly.
And it's one of those things that I didn't like, was when they had to name it that, because God forbid they give it a good name. They have to have toilet humor in there.
Well, they can't call it the Grid, so escaping the Grid. No,
it would be the MCP anus.
Gosh,
Jeff Bridges anus. Oh, sorry.
The gladiator fight's cool. I like the Loki scene. Another joke that lands really well when Thor gets slammed around. I think that was a good callback. Only Loki would know about that, but it is funny that we as the audience get to see that.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that they, start to allude to the fact that Thor doesn't need his hammer to channel lightning and be the god of thunder in this scene. I don't know. I really like the fight.
Mr.
I think it's
Sparkle
entertaining.
Fingers. Those sparkles come out of your fingers?
It's a good scene. It's a good action scene. It's good. Sock'em robots type of fight.
I'm not sure how I feel about Hulk talking, though. I mean, I know that they were...
that's comic accurate. Hold on. You're going to say Scourge isn't comic accurate, but then you're going to be mad that Hulk is talking, even though that's comic accurate?
Which is comic accurate.
No, I'm not saying
Hulk
that.
is always talking in the comics.
I know, but I mean, like, he was a lot more talkative. In the comics, he talks, but he doesn't talk that much. The scenes in the what is it, bedroom? Just seemed, but I mean, it was still done well. Some of the humor was funny. I thought that Hulk is less verbal than that.
I want to bring up right here between Hulk, Thor, Loki, those three in particular. But if you look at it, humor aside and everything else, you look at how much character development and character arc was done. I mean, even with Hulk, I mean, they gave him more personality. They gave him more depth. Not 1.5. He got a little more. It was like 2.25, but not one dimensional. It was like multi-dimensional. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that as you listen to you guys talk about it and just thinking about the movie, I was like, you don't really realize like how much really Valkyrie, obviously, she went from like the drunk, like, I'm trying to forget my past to like,
we definitely want to talk about her more.
Right, we will. And she's next on the list. But I'm just saying, like, it's listening to you guys talk about it. I think that it was really well done, despite all the, well, we don't like the toilet humor, but we do, or whatever. I think that The character development in this one is pretty damn good compared to a lot of other ones, especially with what they packed in.
And I
Yeah.
think I think to that point, that might be what bothers me about how, verbal Hulk is in this movie. I would have liked to see it happen more because in the Avengers, he says one line, and he said one line in his own movie, and he only talked minimal amount in Age of Ultron. I remember him saying maybe one word. I would have liked to see him growing from that to this rather than just all of a sudden he's completely verbal, talking in well, almost complete sentences. So I think that was the thing. It was kinda jarring for me,
From a
I
it
wanna
is
get
story
comic
point,
book. Sorry.
I don't think he would I don't think the Hulk would have risen to the position he was in the Grandmaster's structure as a gladiator, as a champion, as a, as his kind of prize, if he wasn't able to comprehend and react either verbally or not
Well, I don't think
properly
comprehension
enough
ever
to
had
the
anything to do with
situation.
it. I mean, I don't think comprehension ever had to do with it, though. He was comprehensive even in the first Hulk movie. He just was full of rage and didn't speak. He was just angry.
Yeah,
there.
I think I agree with that. It was jarring just because they didn't have Hulk speak so much previously, and then all
Mm,
of a sudden he's
okay.
talking so much. So yeah, the contrast I think is what made it a little weird. I mean,
I got
I also
But you're
agree
right, it
the
is.
development of those characters was great.
Yeah,
A lot
definitely.
of
And you're
I
right, it is comic book accurate, but go ahead, Heather. I'm sorry.
I wanted to go back just a little bit because there's a theme that we have seen before. So Thor without his hammer is still, like same thing. Iron Man without the suit, Spider-Man without the suit. Like we went through this a couple other times, and I definitely remember seeing that like another one. Like they
Yeah.
have to find out who they truly are.
They have to
Even without their
deconstruct the
accessories.
expected character.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
another one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, Hulk
going back
without
to
Banner.
Sakaar.
There you go.
Yeah,
Mm,
exactly. Yeah, going back to Sakaar, I mean, we get Hulk turns back into Banner,
Banner, huh?
and Thor's playing the whole like, no, I like you better. I don't like the Hulk, and then he's telling the Hulk like, and the Hulk was wearing
yeah.
he was wearing those big like necklaces, and all I could think of were those candy necklaces we had when we were a kid. They still, I was
They
thinking of
do.
other like Scooby snacks
Speaking of speaking of
Hulk.
humor that I think landed really well was when they're hiding in the parade, Banner and Thor, and he's like, "Okay, you'll never have to, deal with the Hulk ever again. You won't have to deal with it." He steps out, and suddenly he gets pasted with green powder, and he's
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah, and
"Oh, I'm
everybody
green again.
cheering, yeah.
Dang it!"
Yeah,
For some
exactly.
reason that tickled
I
me
liked the
so
humor
much.
through his anxiety in this, yeah.
Yeah.
The humor of Banner, realizing
Well,
what's
he's
going on
Yeah, and
was very
fearing the
good.
Hulk, like this interchange of like Hulk doesn't like Banner and Banner fears the Hulk. They're having this adversarial relationship in the same person.
Yeah.
And just that scene where he gets hit, he's like, I don't want to think about the Hulk ever again. And then he gets hit with the green powder. I don't know. For some reason, it hit me just,
Yeah.
I laughed out loud on that one.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was pretty. And I completely understand why he would be freaked out after being Hulk for 2 years.
He wasn't as polished of a Banner in that moment, but I think
Oh, for
I
sure.
don't
whether it
think he
was
was
on
supposed to
purpose
be.
or not, yeah,
Yeah.
it worked. Yeah.
yeah. Talk about Valkyrie. So we're still at Sakaar. I mean, we got Valkyrie. She shows up drunk, and she like wipes out all those guys who are just cannibals. All like
Scavengers,
She's
yeah.
all,
War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise style. They're just like poof, turning into dust.
yeah.
Precursor to they were blipped. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
But
God.
but I think Valkyrie was an interesting character. At first, I honestly, with me, I was like, I don't really like her. Not because she was a drunkard or anything. I like wasn't. I don't know. It just like wasn't that great. I don't know. There's something about her, but I think that she turned out to be a pretty cool character.
I don't know,
Well, she
I
kind
liked
of
her a lot, but I think. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say she kind of mirrored Thor's journey initially, where it was like she starts off as this, I don't care, I'm trying to avoid, I don't want responsibility, I just want to get through this, whatever, she's subsisting, just trying to push away things.
and push away the feelings that she doesn't want to feel. And then she slowly gets reintroduced to caring, which is very similar to Thor, in where he was just kind of this playboy prince, was just good at everything that he needed to be good at, punching things, whatever it was, and he didn't want responsibility. And then here it is. He warms up to the responsibility that he eventually takes on. Very similar. So her arc was not unforeseen, but also it wasn't unwelcome. I think it's a very strong arc, but very recognizable.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
Bob, I think I agree with you that at first I didn't care for her as a character, but the moment they start to open up and like why she's where she is, and then when she finally does decide to join them
Right.
and fight this fight, like, from that point, one of my favorite characters as far as the good guys in this
Yeah.
movie.
Matthew, what were you going to say?
another funny observation I noticed in Tron Legacy's DNA being in this movie is she's identified by a tattoo on her arm, just like Korra's identified by her IO mark on her arm. Anyway, this is definitely a Taika character, I would say, just the way it's portrayed. Obviously, Valkyries are within the Norse mythology, so it makes sense that, they'd be represented here, because I feel like they cherry picked a lot from the actual mythology. I liked her on the first watch. She's still kind of annoying all throughout the movie. I know that her arc is satisfying and you can relate to why she is the way that she is. It's just, maybe it's Tessa Thompson's portrayal of the character because she only knows how to play one character, but it just doesn't land for me on this movie. I mean, I'm not trying to be dismissive of Tessa Thompson. It's just, that's how she plays every role. You go watch Westworld, you go watch Creed, you go watch Men in Black International. It's the same character every single time. So
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Tessa Thompson, but I do like her in this movie. But also because I like the character of Valkyrie from the comics, who is Brunhilde, and she's based on, I don't know how to pronounce it, Brunhilde in the actual Valkyrie legend. But I enjoyed the portrayal in this movie a lot, even though the drunk stuff got a little bit on my nerves just because it's a trope that we've seen so many times. Like, we want to show that she's broken. Okay, let's just make her drunk. It's one of those things that they,
It's shorthand for sure.
it's shorthand. Just like, if you want to say a woman is pregnant, she's got to get sick. As soon as you see a woman throw up, it's like, she must be pregnant. There's no other reason for a woman to throw up on TV. So, it was one of those things that I watched it and I was like, oh, she's drunk. She must be damaged. But I like Tessa Thompson's portrayal. But again, I'm not that familiar with her. I've never seen Men in Black International or any of the Creed movies.
I've only seen Creed 1 in her defense, but it's still, I don't know, her range is limited. I'll put it
Yeah.
there.
But that's not always a bad thing because
No,
Anybody listening, send all
Jeff
hate
Goldblum-
mail to Darren.
What?
But
I'm
I just
saying
want
the
you to
arc
feel
was
included.
nice. I had nothing to say
I
about
know,
the
I'm
action.
joking. I'm joking. I had to
there's
pick
a long
somebody.
list, but there is a long list of actors that I enjoy watching. There is a long list of actors that I enjoy watching very much, even though I don't think that they have much range or acting ability. Jack Nicholson plays every single character like Jack Nicholson. I still love watching him, but I wouldn't say he's got a great range.
No,
And
you're
Jeff
right.
Goldblum.
Jeff
Jeff Goldblum
yeah,
is
that's exactly what I was
always
thinking
Jeff
of, yeah.
Goldblum, and he's one of my favorite parts of this movie for playing himself. But, great range? Nah. Come
No,
on.
you're right. But it's also, and this isn't, again, I wasn't trying to be dismissive of Tessa Thompson. It's just the character itself. I don't know. I don't really like it. I don't think it
That's okay.
fits
So she
within
was
this
a
movie.
one-dimensional character.
She's absolutely one-dimensional.
No, I don't think she's one-dimensional.
I don't
There-
think
it's
she's
We're gonna do a
more
whole
she-
episode
no.
on the dimension of every character movie
I-
for the last 100 years.
I do think she's got more than one dimension because she does have a backstory. She has a reason for being
Yeah.
broken, and it's a good reason.
Totally.
It's just, maybe it could have been fleshed out more than just a non-motion
It was like a-
flashback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a single flashback, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
But
But no,
flashback that wasn't even in motion. I don't know why they
I
didn't.
liked the character, so
Huh?
Heather, what were you gonna say?
I was just saying I liked the character. I liked the addition that
Yeah.
this character and the actress brought to
Yeah.
the mix.
Now,
Yeah.
here's a character that I feel like I should know the name of, but I'm not. I can't recall the name of her. But Jeff Goldblum's assistant. I don't know what her name is.
The name of the kid, the name of
Yeah.
the actress. I don't
The
know
name-
either one.
Either.
I mean,
Yeah.
she was deadpan
But
funny, but other than that,
She
Yeah.
was, but the thing was, I was annoyed with how
Topaz.
Topaz
Mhm.
was the character's name.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, like, I don't know what the point like, she was a character that I don't think we're supposed to like her. She was funny because she was deadpan, but she also was a bad guy, a very clear bad guy. So I felt like it was a wasted opportunity when they killed her off in such an undramatic fashion. It was kinda
Yeah, I thought
anticlimactic.
That actress, her name is Rachel House. She's a Taika Waititi. She's been in
I
a lot
was
of his
gonna
movies,
say, yeah,
kind of like Bruce
she felt
Campbell.
like
So I think she was there.
she
Uma
felt like a
Thurman
Taika
and
Waititi addition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Michael Caine and all of Christopher Nolan's movies. He's just
Yeah.
so.
I love the line though where it's like the slaves have broken into the mainframe. She's like,
Yeah, I don't like
"Oh,
that
I don't like
word.
that
Call
word."
'em
She's like,
that.
"What, mainframe?" And
Yeah.
she's like, "No." And she's like, "Okay, the
But
prisoners with jobs."
Jobs.
I like the part where she gives him that scepter, and he's like, "What? Why are you giving me the melt stick? They
Yes, yeah, yeah.
interrupted me."
Not a capital
What do I say?
offense.
It's a B word, trash. That doesn't even begin with
Trash.
B.
Yeah, you even
You
trying?
were waiting to say that?
So, but I enjoyed watching. Yeah, her deadpan humor was great. I
It
just wish
was.
that because her death was earned, it should have been more than practically off screen like that. And there was no reaction from her. The fireworks go off because Bruce doesn't know how to work the ship, and she gets distracted long enough to hit that piece of debris, and that was it. And I felt like it was an anticlimactic end for the character. Not that I wanna see anything gory or anything like that. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, she was the definition of a point 0.5 dimensional character.
yeah. She's
She was
definitely had no
fully just
dimension.
It
a
was just an
Jeff Gold.
extension of Jeff Goldblum.
She was just
Yeah,
a
I mean, it was
foil. She was a
yeah.
foil.
But if they're gonna
a
Thank you.
comic
Yeah,
foil.
the foil.
What is
yeah,
our
but I
dimensional
just feel
scale
like
again? What are we?
she's more
Character
than a
dimension?
faceless character, when a faceless character like a stormtrooper gets killed, we don't there's millions of them getting killed all the time, so we don't think about it, but they set her aside as his main assistant, and she's got a chip on her shoulder apparently for Valkyrie, and,
Right.
so it would have been kind of fitting to have Valkyrie take her out in some kind of dramatic fashion, and instead she just
Like jumping over
it
to
didn't
her
happen.
ship and having them fight on top of the ship?
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Or
Yeah.
even just her landing even her jumping onto the ship, sabotaging it, and then jumping off so that the ship crashed might have been a little bit more, but it was instead Bruce Banner making a mistake
Right.
that just came out of
Mm.
nowhere, but
Yeah.
it's not the worst thing, it's definitely not a huge thing against the movie, I'm picking at nits here.
Right. Picking at nits. That was good.
Yeah.
That was so coming back to the whole, Thor's, kind of his
I don't give
identity
a nit.
shift. We kind of mentioned it. He doesn't have his hammer anymore, and then we've got the whole Thor and Loki. We talked about the elevator scene and how funny that
Well,
was.
you
the
gotta
whole
feel
get
bad
help thing.
about
But also the connection you're making. Like it's like Thor's line, like, look, hey, this place is perfect for you. You should just stay here. And it's like Loki's shocked by like Thor's like, no, you know what? I finally understand where we're at now. And
Yeah.
it's like look, I just want you to be happy, type of thing. That whole relationship, I felt like it was kind of a full circle coming, Loki goes off to go steal the ship and sound the alarm to get the reward. And Thor's already like, oh, Loki, we just keep doing this all the time. And he puts the little,
Yeah.
whatever you call it, the little
Yeah.
buzzer
Zapper.
thing,
Yeah.
the little zapper, the little,
The droid
talk a little bit about
restraining
that.
bolt.
Just yeah, Thor's kind of his shift in identity and how the hammer, he has the vision. Odin's like, oh, that was just to help you harness your power, but really you're just Harry Potter lightning bolt guy type of thing. And you might as well put that on. And but the whole Thor and Loki and how they finally get up there and they work together, to get back to go save.
It would have been
Asgard.
it would have been a more moving moment if Loki hadn't ruined it by, immediately trying to stab Thor in the back, but it was satisfying that Thor was onto him already and knew that he was gonna do that.
Right.
So,
See, I like I said, I have trouble trusting Loki's intentions and
didn't trust him.
motivations. So I was like, okay, when's he gonna turn? When's he gonna betray
Yeah.
him in some way?
So you were ahead of
So-
And then
even
he did.
Thor on that
Yeah.
one there, Heather?
No, I think Thor
Yeah,
knew too.
apparently.
I
Well,
think
see-
Thor knew too, because Thor was prepared for it.
Right.
So,
You had Thor. We had Thor and Loki's relationship in one, Thor and Thor the Dark World, the two of them there. Then Avengers, and it was like, dude, Loki went full bad, and it
that was
like
before the
so-
Dark World.
right. But I'm just saying that we've had a lot of interaction. So if you think about the grand, no pun intended, scheme of this whole arc that they've gone through a few movies, all these years they put it together. I think it was really well done, and how they finally connected, and how they just kind of figured themselves out.
You
I
might say
thought
it was a grandmaster plan.
Although think about
almost like they've come to accept one another, kind of thing.
Yeah,
well,
it would
think
have
about
worked
this.
if.
Wait. Let me
Go ahead.
let me just make a point here. Okay, he revealed that Loki was masquerading as Odin on Asgard, foiled that plot. I get the feeling like when he said, you should stay on Sakaar, was kind of like, why don't you just mess with these people instead of Asgard? How about that? Could you just, if you're gonna do what if you're prone to just messing with people and being selfish, do it over.
I'm
here.
sure there
Don't
was.
do it.
I
Don't do it with
suspect
our
that was
people.
part of it. But it would have been a good ending for Loki's character if he had chosen to stay there and he hadn't stabbed Thor in the back.
Right.
He might have been a happy character there. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, he would have been a good Grandmaster.
I don't want to forget to mention Korg though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I should have
Korg.
mentioned him earlier, but yeah, Korg was pretty awesome.
And Taika,
And that, of course, is Taika
Waititi.
Waititi.
Yeah.
Taika Waititi, however you say his name. But yeah, he does a great job. I love the line where he says, I tried to start a revolution, but I ran out of pamphlets. So
Yeah.
almost no one showed up except for my mom and her boyfriend, whom I hate.
Exactly.
That was.
I mean, Waititi,
Yeah.
if nothing, he has the ability to use that non sequitur distracting humor where it's like, I'm going to say something funny that is completely off topic, and it's so jarring that it's the fact that it's non sequitur adds to its humor. That is like, that's his bread and butter. He does nothing else other than that, really, as Korg, other than something happens and I'm going to make observational humor on a completely different vector. Fantastic in and of it what it is, but repetitive as F. I can't.
Yeah.
It's
But
so
Korg is
it
a
got
great
old real
character
quick.
to watch.
It
Though.
got old real quick.
Yeah, he is a great character to watch. He's like,
I like him whenever he appears, even in the later movies when he shows
like,
up. I always
bye, new Doug.
Yeah.
another day, another Doug.
Go ahead, Matthew.
I feel like Korg overstayed his welcome. I mean, that's about all I like. He's funny in this movie.
I
kind
agree.
of. It's overplayed by the time we get to Endgame. I'm like, I just don't care. And how, he was aboard the ship in Infinity War. How did he survive?
Well, not everyone was killed.
Why isn't he dead along with him?
Remember,
He's only killing half.
Thanos was only killing half of the populations.
Wait, I thought half of them
Would
got
always-
off the ship.
Yeah, half of them.
Oh, is that
did.
what happened?
So,
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
I think they make mention of that, or
yeah, because they show several times,
That's
even in
right.
the past, when he
He'd
went
let
to
them.
Gamora's planet, he made people stand to one side or the other. He didn't say which side was which,
Yep.
and then he told them to kill.
I guess that
ones on
wasn't
one side.
properly portrayed in that opening scene.
No, they didn't
but-
show it. So yeah,
But Korg, I don't know. He's funny, kind of.
Korg and Meek.
Yeah,
Remember the little?
Yeah.
yeah.
Meek.
Is that
little
plasma
Meek.
leaking off of you, or is those eggs?
Meek's dead. Oh no, Meek's alive.
Meek's dead.
Yeah,
Nope,
Meek's
he's
alive.
okay.
That was like the ending line of the entire movie. It's like, Meek's alive.
Yeah.
That
Again,
was
non
a
sequitur,
distraction humor there.
off to the side.
But that was distraction level humor at that point. I liked the character, and the banter that was going on Sakaar. But yeah, like the stuff at the end was a little too much. with
Seriously
Korg.
though, Meek should get his own movie. I think very very. Cool
You know who
character.
I'm going
don't
to
see
say
much
this
of it.
right here before I jump to the next topic, which is when they get back to Asgard and
we
they
have
the
to talk
battle
about
with
Heimdall.
Well, we need to talk about Heimdall, right? Because he's very pivotal, with his character. But that 3-headed guy, like you see him a whole bunch of times and then he dies right away. And I'm like, I don't even know his name.
On the
And
bridge, yeah.
It's basically like killing 3 people at one time. I actually felt bad and I wanted to know more about that guy. I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. But yes, we do need to talk about.
Well, he has his own
Heimdall.
video game and a 4-book series that you're missing. It's
There's a whole Wikipedia
Extended
page on
universe.
him with a full backstory of his birth, with
We need to have Mike
Ultrasound
Myers.
photos and him in
We
the
need to have
womb.
Mike Myers show up from So I Married an Axe Murderer, calling him Heed.
Yeah,
Because
he's new. Anyway, so yeah, Heimdall. Yeah,
I was really actually kind of upset with how they treated Heimdall.
why?
Because
He
I
literally
liked how
saved the people.
I agree. I'm not talking about that. I like what they do with him later on in the movie. I think he is a very important part of the movie. What I don't like is that they don't show how he got to where he is. We know, based on everything we know about the character, he probably saw through Loki's disguise immediately and started revolting against him. But we don't see it. And it's another case of all tell, not even tell, and no show. We don't get
Yeah,
any
they
tell
barely
or
talked
any
about
show.
why. Yeah,
He's just
how he was
gone.
kicked out. Yeah.
So when we first see him in the movie is halfway through and he's already hiding and we don't get any backstory about what happened,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
and that irritated me
Yeah,
because
all we really got to introduce that Heimdall is not there was
Scourge.
very
Scourge.
early on when he's calling, Heimdall,
Yeah, and
get me out
Scourge
of
is
here,
like,
and yeah, distracted. But yeah, so and I was like, what happened to Heimdall? And yeah, so yeah, I wish they would have fleshed that out a little bit more.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
felt like they did that. It was kind of it kind of sucked for the character because of how important he is. But I always love Idris Elba as the character. I
Mhm.
know he doesn't really want to play the character much because it's very uncomfortable. I
With
think
the
the
context.
eyes and
Yeah.
so I understand that. I don't think he wants to do it anymore. And well, I guess he can't now because he's dead. But
Spoilers.
yeah,
Honestly,
nothing's
from a
permanent in
Jeez,
Marvel.
Josh, man, nobody knew that.
From a character standpoint, though, honestly, any Asgardian could have played the role of the protector leader of the ragtag group of Asgardians just as easily. They could have picked one of the
I
Warriors
don't know.
3 if they didn't get sliced right at the beginning, but still.
I don't know. I think that Heimdall was a good choice to lead them. I think that the character is a great character. I just would have liked to see the whole, him seeing through Loki's disguise and being cast out because of it, or him basically starting the revolution against him because that seems to be where it was headed. But we don't see any of it while Loki is there. And yeah, I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, but I really hate the fact that they just in one shot killed off the Warriors 3. Well, 2 of them in one shot, and then the third a couple scenes later. I really felt like it sucked for them to do that, and
Well,
that was at the point it was at that point that I was glad Jamie Alexander didn't show up in the movie as Sif, because she would have been dead too.
Right.
yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Sif is absent in this movie. I do find it frustrating, and I guess I didn't notice it on the first rewatches. They don't explain Heimdall and why Thor doesn't know where Heimdall is at all, because he's like calling for him, expecting him. It's like, well, how long was Thor down in
Well, he said he'd
Surtur's
been
lair?
going.
He's been
Well, no, it's not
2
even
years.
Surtur's lair. He had been spending 2 years trying to clean up what's been going on in the 9 realms. He even says that to Odin when he's like, "You're sitting here in your bathrobe eating grapes while the 9 realms are in chaos, and I've been going and cleaning up
Yeah,
the whole thing." I mean, I think he's referring to like what was going on in, after Thor: The Dark World. It was kind of like he went off to go fix all that stuff.
but he already fixed it in Thor: The Dark World. That
No,
was the
no,
whole.
they're saying he's like going around cleaning up the 9 realms because Odin isn't there, so like the 9 realms are falling into chaos.
But-
because Loki wasn't doing his job.
I
Go
don't know. Narratively, that's a plot hole then, because in the very beginning of Thor: The Dark World, he's like, "Oh, I brought peace to the 9 realms," and it's like, oh, well, you didn't need Odin there to do that. It was Thor doing it the whole time. I don't know. That doesn't that.
Well, in
That's
Superman 4, he got rid of all the nuclear weapons, and 5 seconds later, Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor sells nuclear weapons to everybody on planet Earth. So, movie magic, people. Movie
Yeah.
magic. I wanted to go to the Asgard. They get back for the big battle, the final duel with
on the
Hela.
bridge, on the
You know,
Rainbow Bridge.
Thor gets, he goes full power. He has his Odin moment. I love the Led Zeppelin, and they get that slow-mo shot falling in there. Like, if that's not a
Yeah.
superhero
And they're all climbing
looking
up
moment,
to him, like
Yeah.
reaching up to him while he comes down.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
Yeah.
that's
It's a great
that's-
shot with a great song.
yeah.
I love that song, Immigrant Song,
Energy
and
gave
I
me,
was
yeah.
very happy. I was very happy that they got to use it because Led Zeppelin is notoriously tight-fisted when it comes to their intellectual
Right.
property. There's a
reminds me of-
story.
It reminds me of just Madonna. They had to go. Ryan Reynolds had to do like a prayer or whatever
for
for
Deadpool Wolverine.
for Deadpool and Wolverine. Like he wanted that song so bad, and he went and personally, like, I don't think he begged for it, but he asked very respectfully. He's like, I just would love to just use this for that. And it worked
Well,
great. But anyway, sorry, Josh, go ahead.
No, that's the same thing happened with Jack Black in School of Rock, and he sent
Right.
a video of Immigrant Song and like them performing it, and was like, "Please let us use the song on to Led Zeppelin." And of course, they did, and it was perfect for that movie too. Maybe I'm a little biased because I love that song by Led Zeppelin, but it's also very
Like,
fitting here.
I like how using that at the fight scene at the end just bookended it with the opening fight scene. You know, to me,
Right.
it was like
Honestly, I
a
didn't even
music
notice it in
video
the first
fight
scene.
scene.
It had no impact in the first scene. It
No,
I
it was a
still think
full
it
blown
did.
music
in
video in
late,
the first
it
scene.
it had no emotional impact in the first use at the beginning of the movie, but the way, I don't know, it was the visuals, the timing, everything about it. The way they used that song the second time, it was unmistakable. It could have been no other way. It was really impactful, and it just shows that yes, the song's great, but you have to pair it with the proper timing and the proper visuals and the proper lead up and
I
whatever it
think it
was. But I mean, it's so hard the
Yeah,
second time.
I disagree with that. I think it set the tone for the movie in a
100%.
sense.
Very
Mhm.
Guardians
With
of the Galaxy.
that opening scene
Yeah.
Agree to
music
disagree.
video of a fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're
Yeah.
just damn wrong, Darren. Just kidding. We're
No.
respectful here.
Hey,
Sorry.
Wow.
I
we have a guiding principle
No,
on the show.
yeah. And anyone who
Damn
knows
guardrails.
anyone who knows that song at all knows how fitting it is too. That's a song that's basically about everything that Thor stands for. You know,
Yeah.
if you don't know the words, look up the lyrics. But
Yeah.
Works on
yeah,
so many
that,
levels.
there's
Although
no
that
better
song,
song.
you could pair that with anything. You could pair that with somebody vacuuming and be like, right on, oh yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's badass all on its
acting
own.
like a
It's
boss.
so good. I even like the cover that Marilyn Manson did. Not as much as the Led
I don't know about
Zeppelin,
that
but
one.
still.
I would hope not. That's like
Yeah, no
saying
kidding.
Alien Ant Farm Smooth Criminal is
yeah.
better than Michael Jackson's version, but
How dare
No,
you?
no, I'm
It's-
being
no,
funny. No, I'm
he's-
comparing it.
I was
No,
going to
no.
disown you.
No, I agree. It's not the same. It's not as the original Led Zeppelin one is better, but I did like Marilyn Manson's cover of that song. And same thing to what you're saying. Of course, love Michael Jackson's version of Smooth Criminal, but Alien Ant Farm did a great cover
They did an
do-
okay
they
cover.
do
in
a
a
very good cover.
in a very different
energy of
style,
the
which I
song,
always
for sure.
appreciate.
Right.
There's most covers I don't like as much as the original, with the exception very much of The Sound of Silence.
Right.
The Disturbed version's awesome.
Yeah.
The Ragnarok twist is what I want to bring. So it turns out, we get to
What a
the end,
twist.
they're trying, they're trying to, they can't defeat Hela because, she says earlier in the movie, the Asgard is where they all get their power, but she's like overpowered apparently. But so he figures out that he needs to do Ragnarok. And ironically, it's Loki that goes and gets the mask and puts it in the eternal flame, which is something he would never do in any other movie. He couldn't rely on him. So obviously, there's been some growth on Loki's part right here. But, the whole concept of Asgard is a people, not a place. I mean, it's, I think that was, it was sad, but I think it was really interesting. And I think it brought a lot of emotion. And then they
poignant.
Battlestar Galactica their way to Earth, like like the 70s and 80s one. That was the whole goal was like, we're trying to get to Earth. And, but, talk about that. The whole Ragnarok, I don't know if you really call it a twist, but it's,
Well, I mean, it was
it's
definitely
interesting. I mean,
foreshadowed.
they're watching their home get destroyed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, it works for the movie. It still bothers me knowing the actual mythology because it's not limited to the whatever Asgard is,
Well,
a planet.
superhero
or
movies
whatever.
are the new mythology. So, which
Well,
mythology
so
are you
I
referring
know
to?
I'm talking about Norse
There's the
mythology.
old mythology and the
it
new
was-
mythology, and tomorrow's going to be
Yeah.
new mythology. So, hey,
Well, the only thing is that it's hard for me to separate it because I'm a big fan of mythology. It's like, that it would be like making a movie about Greek mythology where Zeus is a servant.
hey, everything's
it
a
doesn't
remix,
work.
right? As they say.
Maybe.
Well,
Matthew, what do you think?
and well, with Ragnarok in the mythology, Thor also dies alongside Odin, but
That's true.
can't have that in a Thor movie.
And it-
Spoilers.
Thor kills Jormungandr first, though, the giant
Yeah.
world serpent, and
Uh,
Loki kills Loki and who was it?
Is it
could Google
MCU
it.
related? If it's not
Lo-
MCU related, go ahead, Matthew.
Loki and Heimdall.
Heimdall.
Loki and Heimdall fight each other and kill each other in the.
That would have been a battle worth seeing on the screen.
Yeah,
Anyway, go
yeah.
ahead, Matthew.
No, I think this is not a critique of the movie because I still like it. It's just sometimes movies do this where they have two separate identities. You had the Hela storyline, and looking at the notes that we had here, we talk about how she didn't have as much screen time. She probably should have, despite being the main big bad. So you have the Sakaar storyline, and then all of a sudden we're back on Asgard, and we're dealing with the actual title of the movie with Ragnarok. I think it comes back to my point that I brought up last week, which was this movie has a really big sense of finality, and it almost makes me wish Thor 4 had never been made because this is a good closing. It's like Toy Story 4. You didn't need it, right? You had Toy Story 3. It was a perfect ending. This is a good ending for Thor's arc, at least at this point in time.
I agree.
And, I mean, the bridge battle was awesome using the undead army. I think I forget the name of the actual army.
Well, Hulk fighting
Fenrir or Fenris, they
Yeah.
call him in this movie for whatever reason. The immigrant song, I think all of it is a really good climax. You definitely are cheering for Thor and hoping that they escape. And I like the twist, though, of using Ragnarok. It's not the first time we've seen it well, I guess not necessarily the first time, but not the only time we've seen it in different forms of media that surround Norse mythology. You look at God of War, Ragnarok, the video game. They bring that about to destroy the gods. So it's always cool to see, that level of cataclysm in media. So I really like it. I think it was a good closing on Thor's story and the whole Earth story, like I mentioned. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting ahead of myself, but we see the mid-credit scene. But I really like that the fact that it all took place on the Rainbow Bridge before they all get on that ship was awesome because it shows, the link between worlds is shattered. Asgard's gone, and the Rainbow Bridge is such a what?
No, I'm singing a Korg's line where he's like, "It doesn't look too bad. It is just a little bit of this, a little bit of
And then
that,"
it explodes.
and then it blows up, and he's like,
Yeah,
"Nope, we can't go back to that."
Foundations are gone.
Foundations are gone.
Yeah,
Because
that's called a good strong foundation.
That's where the first Thor movie ended, was on the Rainbow Bridge. So again, I think it was a good full circle moment. Yeah. I really like how they portrayed it, and Surtur was definitely menacing at the end. So
And Hulk tries to take him
agree
out. He's
that-
like, no.
I agree, though. This is one of the many reasons why Thor: Love and Thunder shouldn't have been made. It was that this movie was a good ending, but I can think of a couple hundred other reasons why Thor: Love and Thunder shouldn't have been made. But
We'll get there when we get
Eventually.
Yeah.
So
But
final.
I guess.
Go ahead.
Well, does that, because you did start to mention it? Should we talk a little bit about that final mid-credit scene where we got whatever
Where
it's
the,
called, Sanctuary, the ship, Thanos' ship appears.
Yeah, and
I
it's
do
just,
find
I
it
didn't
funny
find
that
that
it's called
impactful
Sanctuary.
at all. I didn't find
Not
that
knowing-
impactful at all after watching. I was like,
Not knowing
I
what
don't even know what this ship is. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
they
no,
encounter
I knew
another-
what it was.
Yeah,
I knew
not,
what it was
not
when he
knowing in
sure.
advance.
I know.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Okay,
you
I
knew
was like,
something
oh, they
menacing,
encountered
yeah.
a big ship. Okay, menacing.
Well, yeah.
Who I didn't know that was Thanos at the time, so I was like,
All I could think
I
of
think
is
that's
Odin's line of like, "Shit, like what is this?" And then it just ends, and you're like, "What?" And then
what?
yeah.
it starts
I think
off
that's
with
I think
Infinity
that's
War.
why it's so cool, because like anyone who wasn't familiar with Thanos would just say, "Oh, they encountered a ship." But to me and to all the people I knew who were into who were following the MCU and knew that Infinity War was on its way,
And
they were
that's why
just
they
like,
have end credit
that's-
scenes.
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Sanctuary! It's finally happening. Here we are." Because it's not like it was a secret, and even if you didn't watch all the news, it was in all of the other scenes. The first Avengers movie, we saw Thanos look at the camera. Then he appeared in several other movies. Always leading up to it. With the Age of Ultron, you see him grab the gauntlet and say, "All right, fine, I'll do it myself."
Right.
So this was the only thing I didn't like, was the fact that there was still another movie between this one and Infinity War.
Well, it
Go ahead,
kind of
Matthew.
was necessary.
Yeah, it was definitely necessary. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about that. And the movie was great, which we'll talk about. And
So-
I'm not segueing there yet because we still
No,
got
that's
more to
segue
talk
there
about.
because we need final verdicts. Darren, go. Thor Ragnarok.
I found this extremely enjoyable overall. I wasn't familiar with Hela or much of I wasn't familiar with her Marvel history. I wasn't familiar with the original Norse mythology. So for what it was, I wasn't burdened by that as far as
You're
comparisons.
welcome.
Thank you, Josh. But all in all, the action scenes were fantastic. Gladiators, the undead, everybody, giant fire monsters, fantastic stuff. I really enjoyed it.
Darren, you like
Like,
movies about gladiators?
Darren, you ever been in a Turkish prison? Darren, have you ever seen it? Never mind. Heather,
Yeah,
what was your final verdict,
Yeah.
Heather?
I really enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the rewatch, and in light of doing this podcast, like I'm looking for more stuff out of these movies than maybe I did first watches. So
more stuff to love or more
yeah,
stuff to hate?
it was
Which one?
depends on the movie.
Yeah.
But no,
I guess
I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed how they pulled all these different characters in, and again, that leading up to Infinity War and kind of, tying some of these stories together and at least making touch points on them. I guess I liked Hela as the villain. Yeah, I mean, and Mastermind, the whole gladiator stuff was, it was just really cool. I liked most of the humor. Some of it got overdone. Like, in the moments when it's supposed to be a little serious, where they just like, have to throw in one more joke. That got to me a little bit. Besides that, I enjoyed the movie.
Matthew?
Yeah, I really like this movie. I don't know if that was clear throughout this podcast, but I do really enjoy this movie, despite my complaints about the humor, because I didn't want to sound too hypocritical, but there are some jokes about this movie, or jokes in this movie, that I enjoy a lot. And again, I think it's just coming from a different comedy writer. I think that was helpful. But overall, I'd probably put this in the top 10. Again, not that anybody cares. I think I'd put this in 10th place. I could watch this movie.
Keith cares. Thanks, Keith.
I could watch this movie a lot. I always find myself enjoying my time with this movie. I really enjoy it overall. Again, best Thor movie for me personally. But yeah, I think it's an important one for the MCU too. I think it has a lot of impact, more than most people would give it credit for.
Yeah. I think I like Thor Ragnarok. I watch it probably once a month. Honestly, it's one of the 30. And there'll be T-shirts on the Psyber-Conversations website after this. But anyway, that says one of the 30. But I like.
No, you have to list all the 30 on the back of the T-shirt. Come on.
No,
Yeah.
I'll put.
Yeah, like
I'll do
concert
30
dates.
blanks, and people can fill in their own.
Yeah.
It's like a
I
Wordle.
think that I think Thor Ragnarok was really good. I think it was a tonal shift, and it's easy to look back on it now and be like, oh, with the comedy and stuff, and see the legacy that I guess we could say both Guardians and Thor Ragnarok left. But I think at this time, because we're trying to, we try to think of these movies at the time that they came out and what we had previous to that. I think it was just a lot of fun, but it still had a lot of emotion, obviously a lot of heart in it, and I think it was a good blend of all of them. Whether some jokes hit or not or anything else, I still think it was really well done, well put together. The action was great, the music was great. I think it was awesome.
And I've still, like, this movie is a very mixed bag for me. I agree with all of you. The story is great. The action is great. I love a lot of it. Even the humor, a lot of it is very funny, but I also don't like the how it seems to take Thor less seriously, Thor the character less seriously. And it just, to me, that bothers me, because I want him to be the superhero Thor, not the joke Thor. Though he'll become more of a joke later on in Endgame, but we'll get to that. But before Endgame, we have Infinity War, and before we have Infinity War, of course, we have Black Panther, which is what we will be talking about next week. And I really am not going to tell you what I think about that. You have to tune in next week to find out. However, I do want to thank Heather, Matt, Darren, and Bob for joining me today. I want to thank the viewers for watching us and putting up with us. And if you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. And as always, make tomorrow better than yesterday.